Welcome. My name is Alex. You're probably wondering where Clay is. He's dead in Kansas or something like that. He disappeared for a few weeks, but he'll be back. And then today I'm joined by.
I'm Chase, and these are the things we've seen.
Goddamn right. All right, man. Well, I'm glad that it's finally happening because we've been talking about it for a little while, and I had to reschedule from last week because I ended up having some shit to do. So thank you for working with me on that and coming to hang today instead.
Yeah, not a problem.
Also, it's so weird doing this on a Friday. we we usually we usually record on like I'd say most common it's on Sundays, but it's been Saturdays lately. And now it's a Friday, and I'm just like, fuck, my whole week's weird. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I was going to be here anyway, so whatever.
dude, fuck yeah. Well, sorry, I was just reading something dumb.
You're
Because I was
good.
telling Clay if he wants to be alive for a little bit and he can have decent connection, he should join us, but he might not be able to. Um, but I guess to kind of get things rolling, tell us a little about yourself, what you're doing now, and then we'll dive into a little history about you.
Right. So, like I said earlier, my name is Chase. I am a solo metal. The easiest way to put it is melodic metalcore artist.
Yeah,
I kind of venture into a bunch of different subgenres, but for the most part, it's just easier to say melodic metalcore.
hell yeah.
I've been doing that for about 5 years, 5, 6 years maybe. And it's going well, as well as like a internet solo thing could.
Right, right. Dude, it's so it's kind of cool. So when you what was it? I think you commented or you messaged the TikTok page for us when we first like started posting clips and whatnot there. And it took me a minute and I was like, "Wait, I know who this is." I was like, "I've seen this guy's stuff come up before like on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot." And I was like, "Oh, this makes
Mhm.
so much sense." And then I was like, oh well, this is cool, and like someone who appreciates like what's going on. Clay and I were super stoked to get that feedback because when I saw the comment or message, whatever it was, we were sitting in our break room at work together, just like watching TV, and then we were checking to see if like what was going on there, and I was like, dude, somebody messaged us. I was like, people are actually watching this, and because like to us it's just we just do it because we like to do this and we like to talk and talk to other people and whatnot, so we don't ever
Mhm.
expect much. But it was cool that you were like, yeah, this fucking rocks, and like having something that's about Wisconsin as a whole and just everyone's music scenes in general. But the the idea is definitely to like highlight what's going on around here too. So it was really
Mhm.
cool. And
I shit you not. I legitimately had the same idea for the exact same type of podcast like a year and a half ago. I just never actually got around to doing it, and now that you guys are doing it, I want to let you guys do it
dude,
because you guys are doing the.
it was so crazy because yeah, like we've talked about how it's come together, like how it all came to be and whatnot, and like a bunch of friends and I have always been like, oh, we should do like a video game podcast, or we should do just where we talk about dumb shit, like Tristan and I, and then we were like, we'll probably never do it, just because we're busy with all these other things. And then yeah, Clay hit me up, and I was like, you know what, why not? I was like, it'd be fun. We'll just see what happens, and it
Mhm.
it's definitely like grown into something that we both wish we could just do full time because it's so much fun. But
Hell yeah,
it was
yeah.
really
I'm
cool.
a massive podcaster. I listen to more podcasts than I do music nowadays.
Dude, me
So to
too.
see this one come out is like awesome.
Dude, I'm glad because yeah, like at work we can listen to stuff all day long because we have like our own little stations and whatnot. So
Mhm.
more often than not, I'm like listening to a bunch of different podcasts and like finding new stuff to like whether it's wrestling stuff or music stuff or like video games, or I love like true crime stuff, just
Mhm.
anything to help like pass the time at work. But No, so it's fun. I hope people, obviously you do, but I hope a bunch of people enjoy doing that with us as we talk about all kinds of nonsense.
I
So,
can only speak for myself. I love it.
yeah. So, before we get into like the more recent stuff that you've been doing and whatnot, let's go way back. What was what was the first band you started playing in, um, and kind of just go from there, kind of coming up to now.
So I'll go even a little bit farther back to where I
Yeah.
first like started playing music. Like even just like learning an instrument. I was probably in like fourth or fifth grade, so probably around like 8 or 10 maybe.
Okay.
And I got so obsessed with Guitar Hero that I was like playing songs on expert without looking and like
Nice.
finishing the songs. And specifically Jordan from Buckethead, I was doing that one on expert without looking.
Insane.
And I got super obsessed with guitars from like just seeing all the guitars in the game and all of that shit. So I ended up getting a guitar and I taught myself completely. I have absolutely no lessons in any way, shape, or form on anything.
Insane.
Um, and I taught myself by learning Disturbed's entire discography on a 3/4 inch scale first act electric guitar.
Oh my god, dude, that's such a that's such an insane way to learn, dude.
And
So you've been playing for a while then, obviously.
yeah, I've been playing guitar. I'm 25, so probably around somewhere in the range of like 14 to 10 years, somewhere in there. I don't know
Yeah,
for sure.
you've got like twice as long on me then, cause I'm 24 and I've only been playing since I was like 16.
Okay, I see. I
So
see.
yeah, it was. Uh, I was like learning stuff in a semi-similar way. I would just like find. I loved Guitar Hero growing up, and I always had music around and whatnot. And then I was learning like Avenged Sevenfold songs because
Mhm.
I was like, oh well, drop D is pretty fucking cool, and like just kind of kept going with it. So yeah, it's cool that similar situation for you.
Yeah, and then I actually was just playing guitar in like my bedroom for at least like 7 of those years,
Okay.
like between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend of mine who I would skateboard with who wanted to start a pop punk band.
Okay.
And he needed a drummer. Now, I've never actually played drums, but this sounds like full of myself, and I do not intend to be.
No, you're
But
fine.
I kind of did just sit down at a drum kit, and I was like, okay, basic rock beat, and I kind of just pulled it out of my ass. So I was like, okay,
It
I guess I
works.
can play. And then, yeah, I ended up joining drums for this band called Escorting Court
Okay.
that was a pop punk band, played around the Midwest roughly around 2014.
Okay. So yeah, I remember you mentioning that because I knew of your band, but I don't think I ever actually got to see you guys. Um, cause God, I'm trying to think. I wouldn't have started going to like local shows here until probably like 2015.
Yeah, and we played the venue in Lacrosse that everyone knows very commonly, but
Okay.
we were from Whitehall, which is like
Oh, okay.
45 minutes north.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up, perfectly between Lacrosse and McLean. So we were kind of traveling around a bit,
Hell
and
yeah.
it was a three-piece band. It was me, my friend Aaron, and my friend Jacob who played bass, and then a friend Colton eventually ended up. Um, that band ended up fizzling out after like 3 years or so.
Okay.
But that was where I learned about how live music works. Like
Right.
just going and playing drums in that band. And I actually remember specifically when we started like practicing in his basement, I didn't have a kick drum and I was using an E kit.
Oh, okay.
So I used a like a Tidy Cat's cat litter box and I stuffed that bitch full of blankets and it worked.
I mean,
At least for
whatever
like
works.
and yeah, that was the first band that I was ever in where I really kind of learned everything. And I met like Dakota and a couple of the other people from the lacrosse scene.
I was gonna say, so obviously you have connections to lacrosse, and like we've got connections to Milwaukee, Whitehall area, and whatnot. Um, so after escorting Courtney, is that when you started just kind of doing solo stuff, or did you have a
No,
band in between?
there was another band in between. I actually was in a cover band for a while.
Okay.
Just like a cover band, go play like shows and bars and stuff. It was very fun. I'm still very close with a lot of those people. Those sets though were brutal, dude. Like they were 4 hour sets every night, and it was like a set of 10 with a 15-minute break in between, and then another set of 10 with another 15-minute break, and so on and so forth. It was a lot of songs to memorize.
Oh yeah, I mean,
And
playing for that long.
yeah, that band was called Escaping Silence, and it was pretty much everything from like 90s grunge to like modern hard rock
Okay.
/ new metal. Like we would do like Slipknot songs, and then we would also do like Stone Temple Pilots songs. Like it was everything in between
A
that.
pretty good variety then.
Yeah, yeah, and I loved doing that, but I eventually got a little fizzled out of playing other people's music.
That's understandable. You were more of like, I want to play my own stuff.
Yeah, and I even kind of selfishly got a little fizzled out of having to work with other people too.
Yeah,
Like I'm
that's fair.
far over that. But it was always in my mind the thing of like, if you want to do something right, you got to do it yourself. And that is absolutely no shame to anybody else in that band with. I love all of those guys, and I still talk to a lot of them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I ended up just like really wanting to learn how to do everything myself. And
That's fair.
shortly after that band ended in about 2016, 2017, that's when I roughly started doing my solo stuff.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense then. Because, yeah, I was trying to think of the timeline there. So, yeah, that's cool. So, you've been doing the solo stuff for several years now. Obviously, like, it's working out and whatnot. And I've seen it, like, it did not click until the day we were talking on TikTok that I realized I was like, oh, this is the same guy, and I'm just dumb. And, so I've seen plenty of your stuff, and it's crazy. Obviously, like, we have two similar backgrounds in music, but also we play like very different styles of heavy music, guitar music.
Yeah.
And seeing like what you're doing is so sick because I still love that kind of music.
Thank you.
And, and like Clay does too. That's definitely like right up Clay's alley. Is the kind of stuff that you're doing. And then when you put out that song with Nick Dearman, I was like, yeah, this is fucking crazy. And also, like, I love Nick. Nick is so cool, and he's so good at everything.
Dude, Nick is the homie, and he was supposed to be here today, but he had school stuff. What a fucking nerd, huh?
Dude, imagine going to school.
No, I'm just kidding. I love Nick. He actually, so I have a group chat with him in Dakota, and he sent a voice message to that group chat that specifically told me to not give him more credit than he deserves on the 2 songs that he did, and that I should give myself more credit because it was mostly me. But because he's not here, just to spite him, fuck Nick. Nick, you did you made those songs what they are. You know it.
Dude, Nick is
I'm
a
just
machine.
kidding.
I'm actually gonna text him right now and say, "We're only giving you credit."
He's gonna get so mad.
I'm just saying you're getting all the credit.
Yeah, I reached out to a few people because most of my music is instrumental because I'm not a vocalist.
Okay.
And I would always try to just reach out to people to see if they were interested in even doing vocals. Nick was the first person to say yes, and that was for my song Solitude. And then I also reached out to a good friend of mine named Danny Hansen, who was in a band called For Once out of Eau Claire.
We played with that band a couple times. Misadventures did. We played with them at the Plus, and I feel like maybe we played with them at Everybody's in Chippewa. I can't. No, we didn't play.
That sounds right.
One. But for sure the Plus, like a couple times. But I can't remember if they were on.
Yeah, I know they frequented both of those venues very commonly.
Yeah.
And Danny actually is also from Whitehall, so it's kind of just a cool little connection there. But Danny did my song Rot, and Nick and Danny both kind of did Solitude and Rot at the same time. And I got both of those songs back, and I couldn't have been happier with how both of them sounded on those songs. And it really made me, like, in a weird way, be like, I don't believe these are my songs. Like, I don't. It's hard to believe that I did this and they did that for me.
Dude,
which I'm super appreciative.
I definitely get that. I guess for me, it's like when you get to like listen back to a record that you've made, or even just like a single or something, and you're just like, damn, I made that shit. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
it's nuts because we've been working on rehearsing and getting stuff ready for things coming up for Spread Thin, and every time I go back and listen to the new record that's on its way, I'm just like, damn, we did that. Like what? This is music? Like this sounds professional.
Did you guys self-produce or did you go somewhere else?
We self-produced. So we had Brian Fleming. Just we recorded with him, and he plays bass for us. So did everything, and he produced, engineered all of it. And he's also a machine when it comes down to all that stuff. And we spent probably like the better part of a year and a half writing that album. And it just, fine-tuning stuff as we went along, and making sure that everyone was as ready as possible when it came down to the studio time, because we did it all in 4 days, I believe. I would say 4 days, because Ben came down and did like a half day for vocal tracking. So we did like 4 days and just knocked everything out. And then when it came down to mixing, mastering, that got sent out. So we did that out of house. Just get some fresh ears on it so it can be the best it can. And then, came back and we were all happy with it after a few passes, and we've got some stuff up our sleeves on its way. So hopefully not too much longer, and everyone will see what we've been up to for the last while.
I'm excited to hear it. And I know you told me that you guys are going to be down in the Milwaukee area in July, and I am going to be. Dude, I will be there. We can meet in person.
I'm looking at it right now because I was like trying to remember what date that show is, because I have to like I'm so bad at remembering stuff, and if I don't physically write it down, I will forget that I have things going on. So I have like this little whiteboard over here that's everything for the things we've seen, and then everything for Spread Thin, or I will forget. Even if I write it on my phone or like put it in a calendar on my phone, I'll forget about it.
Yeah, so, yeah, I will too. Sure.
I'm looking forward to that show though, and actually getting to meet in person, and also just like to play shows again, because it's been too long since we played a show.
Remind me to get back to playing shows, but there is another project that I'm involved with that I didn't mention.
Oh, okay.
And I actually don't mention it a lot, and I probably should mention it online a little bit more, but me and two of my best childhood friends are in kind of like an internet band called Bridgekeeper.
Okay.
And it wasn't until listening to this podcast that I realized how many band names there are where it's blank keeper.
It's just so easy because it sounds good.
It does sound good, and every version of it I've heard sounds awesome. There's fucking Soul Keeper, there was Peacekeeper in the other episode, we're Bridgekeeper. But yeah, that stuff is similar to mine. I don't do any guitar work in that. I just write drums, and I'm pretty much just like the drummer.
Interesting. Okay.
My friends Alonzo and Giovanni, they're brothers, Alonzo and Giovanni Ponce. They're the ones who do all the guitar, bass, mixing, and mastering. I just write drums and send it to them. But we did just put out an album, and it's almost all instrumental as well.
Okay, for some reason I feel like I recognize their names, so don't mind me. I am on my phone specifically just trying to figure out if I remember, if I know.
You're all good. You're all good.
Because I think Um, hold on. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
They keep a low profile. They definitely do. They're shy boys.
Because I feel like maybe not. No, I think I almost bought a guitar off Giovanni, like years ago.
Dude, Giovanni, we call him the flipper.
Yeah, I'm pretty
He
guilty of that too. So
he does it to an extensive, like it's insane. He's now in the range of like the things he's flipping is like $5,000. Like it's insane. He just sold Ernie Ball Majesty or 8 string, one of the brand new ones.
oh my god, dude! Yeah, I think because he had like this NK headless guitar for like really cheap, like several years ago.
Was that the one with the pink fretboard, or was that the one with the maple fret?
The pink one.
The pink fretboard. I had an NK as well, and it was like the Strandberg body shape, and it had a maple fretboard, which he ended up getting to him. And I don't know what he did with it. I'm sure he sold it at some point, but
dude, that's crazy.
He flips everything from like cars to guitars and all of this stuff, and now he has like just Gucci gear. He has he's having a guitar built by Balagear right now.
Man,
I don't remember the name of it, but him and Alonzo and Bridgekeeper both use like those 30-inch scale bass sixes, so they tune super low. Giovanni has like a custom one where it's like a purple telly that's like a 28-inch scale or something like that. That's tuned down to drop. Fuck, I don't know what he keeps it at now at this point. But yeah, Bridgekeeper stuff is very fun. I know they're starting to write new stuff, and it's very Veil of Maya, Meshuggah-y. Very catchy yet technical, tuned really low.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, it's that's nuts to think about. That I remembered who he was because of a Facebook Marketplace sale. I never ended up buying it. I think I was just like, dude, I don't know. I'm gonna be so real. I was probably a dickhead and ended up ghosting him. On Marketplace.
He doesn't care, man. He is a businessman doing business.
Yeah. And also, like, I was just like, oh, it's like 200. I don't think he was even selling it for $200. He was like selling it really cheap, and I was like, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool. And then I was like, I would never play that though. Like, I don't.
Yeah. The one that I had was much nicer than that one. That was like one of the first run ones where it had a weird bridge where you needed like a tool to tune it, and the one I had was much nicer. And I'm actually contemplating buying another one because they look really good now.
Dude, yeah, I've gone through so many guitars and shit. I'm a nerd about like I get something, I play it for a while, and then I get rid of it, and I get something else, and I drive my bandmates crazy, and I feel bad about it. But I finally settled with what I have because it does everything I need now. Because I got that Quad Cortex back when we had first, like really started talking. So I got that, and that thing's fucking awesome. And when it comes down to guitars, dude, I don't have them next to me right now like I normally do. They're downstairs. But I have 2 Harley Benton guitars and a bass from them. Dude, I don't know what it is, but these guitars just fucking rock, and they're crazy cheap, and they look incredible, but even more importantly, they play incredible and sound great. And I just don't want to play any other guitars anymore. Like, there's just something about these. They're just so comfortable to play, and they sound good. And I got like an Explorer model from Harley Benton a few years ago, and that's like my main thing. That gets used.
Oh, really?
On pretty much everything I do. The entire Spread Thin record was recorded with that, and then also an LTD Viper that I don't have anymore. Just
hell yeah!
Secondary to get some different sounds with different guitars and pickups. But after that,
I'm about to put you on game right now. Sorry, go ahead and continue.
Please. Yeah, I don't know. I like that one, and then I got rid of that Viper, and I got a just like a really basic Strat from them. And I swapped. The only thing I did is I swapped out the pickups because I was like, fuck it, whatever. I don't normally do that, but I was like, I'll try it because it's the first guitar I've had with actives in years. and so I got the Jim Root signature EMGs, and I just put the bridge
Oh,
pickup in, and it sounds awesome. It's super sick, but something about that Explorer, like I only ever want to play that because it just feels so
yeah, I
good.
bet that tone is thick with that EMG in there.
Dude, yeah, it's nuts because oddly enough, I've been using it to write like very soft music, not anything heavy. I've been using
Yeah,
it to write like
I can see that.
very clean, reverby sounding stuff, just really really chill
Mhm.
stuff. But it's tuned to drop C sharp because that's what Spread Thin plays in, and that's like my favorite
Mhm.
tuning. And I was like, oh, because I'll use it for that as backup. And then I was like, starting to write just like this pretty melodic stuff, and I was like, man, this guitar sounds really good for this. I don't need it for Spread Thin.
Yeah, dude.
Just
Yeah,
like this.
so I was on Team Harley Benton for a while too. I have one. They're right here. Do you mind if I grab it?
Dude,
I
yeah,
can
go
show
ahead.
it.
Go ahead.
So this is my drop E guitar. I use a lot of different tunings, and I have a lot of guitars. Not as much as Clay, but I do have a lot of guitars.
He's
I
insane.
have 7 guitars that I use in one bass.
Dang, okay.
All are set up in different tunings. This is my drop E guitar. This is the Harley Benton that I have.
Is that
Um,
the like the progressive series?
yeah, it's the Progressive Series 8-string fan fret drop E guitar. This thing has been good. Tuning stabilities, but
Yeah, it just kind of depends. I feel like there's a couple things that could be improved a little bit, just like with the bridges that they use. Um,
mhm.
I the luthier that I take my stuff to though too, he's like a wizard, and I don't know what
Okay.
he did, but he did some kind of spell on that Explorer, and it's just in tune all the time.
Like I really like that guitar only goes out of tune when the strings are getting old and then when the weather changes, which we live in Wisconsin, it
Yeah, so it's
happens
all
all
the
the
time.
fucking time. But I actually got exposed to something new recently.
Okay.
I think in November. So Alonzo from Bridgekeeper was like, "Hey, do you want to buy this guitar from me?" And I checked it out, and I'm like, "That seems interesting." And it's a direct competitor to Harley Benton,
Okay.
and this is going to be blasphemous, but I like it a lot more.
Do you have it next to you?
Yes, it is right here.
What is
This
this thing? Oh,
is a Sub-Zero Paradigm baritone. This is a 27-inch scale modern telly.
dude, that looks
This guitar retails for like between $200 and $300.
not
It
bad.
has coil split. It has stainless steel frets. It has a Graphtec nut, and it has locking tuners.
Dude, that's actually really sick. I'm pulling up their website now just because I want to look at everything.
They did change their name, so this is Gear for Music's house brand, just like how Harley Benton is like Tolman's house brand,
Yeah,
and they're called G4M. But
G4M.
this is an older one, yeah. So if you go to Gear for Music, electric guitars, G4M, you'll find all of their stuff, and it's very similarly priced to Harley Benton and a very similar market. And I can't recommend this thing enough. This is my drop A sharp guitar
Damn, they
with that
got
27-inch scale. Oh yeah, dude,
Oh,
they
I'm
got
looking
some
at that
nice looking
exact one
stuff.
right now.
Yeah, they have this version as the baritone, and then they have a regular length.
Man, those are crazy.
They also have one of those bass sixes that are like $200, and it.
That I'm looking at that exact thing right now. Actually, that's such a good price.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are sick.
Yeah, so if you ever feel like grabbing something new and just want to try something random, I can't recommend them.
I might,
Like, at least the one I have is so solid.
dude. It looks like pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it's got that sick burl top on it. I love it. I love a good like burl flame maple top. That's what gets me going.
Dude, same. Also, it's just sick that like now these like in-house brands are just like not the big names fucking rock because like I feel like people don't always give it a chance at first because it's like, oh, it's not a Fender, it's not an Ibanez, it's not Gibson, so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna touch it. But like, dude, just because it's cheap doesn't mean it sucks. I mean, I paid, so I can show you this. I have um, this Harley Benton
Oh yeah.
bass that I got. Sorry, my green screen thing is funky.
You're good.
Yeah, I've got that, and then I got this with that Strat at the same time, and they're matching actually. They're both like same colorway and all that. And
Oh, sick.
I think in total with shipping, I paid $300 for all of it.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is
Harley
absurd.
Benton and like the whole Gear for Music thing is the value is insane.
Dude, yeah, it's nuts. I really, really want to try at some point one of the Harley Benton 212 cabs that come with the V30s. Because they're cheap. Like, I think you can get like the cab for like $200 to $300, and the only reason I even want one, besides just out of curiosity, is I want to stack it with my 412 Marshall and just be obnoxious because
You just want to work out as you load in. I get what you're saying.
yeah, I hate loading in even more because I just wanted to be even more loud and obnoxious, especially for spread thin because it's already loud and obnoxious. So just making it that much more insane would be fun. But no, so it's sick.
Yeah, I mean, if we're nerding about gear right now, my main guitar, like the guitar that I will never get rid of,
Yeah,
and has been with me ever since I've been doing solo stuff, and even before that, is my 7-string.
dude, that's
Is my
guitar.
is my Sterling JP 15 7-string.
That thing's awesome.
And yeah, this guitar will never ever leave my possession.
I feel like
Never.
I think Ben has something similar. I can't remember what he has. I'd have to ask him. But he has something similar because he uses it for his solo stuff when he writes like Noble Servant, which he hasn't made a Noble Servant thing in a while. So I feel like I should bully him into doing that.
You absolutely should.
I like bullying Ben because I love him. So
Yeah, dude, those Sterling guitars, like they're pricey, but you really do get like the build quality of an Ernie Ball Music Man just without the fancy electronics. That's the only real difference. I've played a ton of both of them. That's the only real difference.
dude, that's so sick. I do like that, build quality is still good and it comes down to the electronics. I feel like that's important, that even though it's like the cheaper brand of their thing, that it's still like good stuff.
Yeah, it's like if you could find the actual Ernie Ball version of that guitar, it's the same like African mahogany body, roasted maple neck and fretboard. It's just manufactured in Indonesia and doesn't have like a piezo system. It's really like the big thing.
So when it comes down to like amps and whatnot, are you just using like amp sims on your computer? Do you have an actual amp you go through? What are you using for tones?
So we can do a whole quick rig rundown real quick. I use a Moore GE200, which I know we've talked about because you have one. Or had, I don't know if you still do.
No, I haven't had it in a while.
I love this thing, especially for the price. The whole setup is very affordable aside from some of my guitars.
I would say that Moore, God, I don't even remember how much it was. I just remember it was like crazy cheap.
Like $250 or something like that.
Sounds about right, because I think I got it with a case too. There was like a deal on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this thing is insane. I can really get any sort of tone that I want out of this. That's just going into a Focusrite Scarlett Solo.
Hell yeah.
Typical bedroom guitarist thing. And I run Reaper and get good drums.
Nice.
And for my bass, I don't even use the Moore. I just use free like Lapoo plugins.
Oh, dude, yeah. That I was doing the same thing for bass for a while, and then I also use a Focusrite most of the time. Generally, when I'm using it now, just because it's what I keep like permanently set up in my little office space. But when we do normal podcast episodes and stuff, I have a 4-channel Tascam interface that I use just so we can have 4 people if we need it. But no, I've gone through so many fucking things. It's terrible. But yeah, I've used similar bass plugins. Now that I have that Cortex, I just use it for everything. But I used some of the Neural DSP stuff for a little bit, and then I was using the STL Tone Hub for a while.
Yep.
I really liked that because I love Taylor Young, and I love Kurt Ballou and Will Putney and Gary Holt. So I was using a bunch of their stuff, just getting different sounds and whatnot. And so I was like, okay, well, like the Tone Hub subscription price is a pretty good deal. So I was doing that for a while, and then I got the Cortex, and I was like, well, don't need that anymore because I don't want to pay for it. I have this, and I can do most of the same things or get very similar tones. Just do it on here instead. So it's
yeah, Alonzo and Giovanni all use the Neural DSP stuff for pretty much every Bridgekeeper release, and it sounds great. It sounds really good. I personally just like having a device.
I like having the device as well. That's like why I got the Cortex, is because I was like, well, this is going to be my main rig for everything, and because then like I got like a Crown power amp just so I can still use my cab and whatnot, and I like that I can still use the foot switches on there like they're my actual pedals and whatnot. So also the capture stuff with the Cortex is really neat. I myself. I haven't done it myself, but I have one thing that I want to use it for, and it's this pedal, the Pariah pedal. So I wanna test out the capture with the Pariah because this pedal's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I've been looking at other modelers too, just because I've had this one for about 4 years now, and I've used it a lot. And I would be into getting something new. It's just, money.
Dude, I feel that. And the thing is with that Moore too, it is super versatile. Like, I think one of the coolest things about what it does for the price point is being able to load your own IRs onto it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, and to be honest, I haven't even done that yet. Like, I've just used stock ones and been perfectly happy with those.
Yeah, dude, for being such an affordable device, like, you get really, really good stuff out of it. I mean, that's one of those things about, like, usually being strapped for cash and always, like, being able to ball out on stuff is, like, I've gone with so many more of the more affordable options because, like, that's just what worked for me. And, dude, you can get some crazy stuff. That Moore was, like, one of the coolest things I had. And, like, the only reason I ended up with the Cortex or, like, I had a PRS Archon 100 watt was just because it was, like, the right time, right place. Like, that is not, like, a normal thing I would be able to justify having. But it was right time, right place, and I sold off all the other stuff that I didn't need and got, like, an insane deal on it. Because after I traded in all my other stuff that I was using, I only paid, like, $400 for the Cortex, like, out of pocket.
And, that's fucking insane.
Which is crazy.
That really is.
I never would have been able to just, like, buy it outright.
Yeah, dude, it's like $1,700, I think, if you buy it outright, isn't it? Something like that?
Something like that. I think the price I got it at, because it was used at, like, our local shop, Dave's, I feel like it was, like, what was it, like 12 or something like that?
All right.
It was, like, 12 or 13. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but, no, I got just a crazy deal on it, and I took in, like, my Randall head and, all the other pedals I was using and stuff, because I was like, well, if I'm getting it, I don't need this stuff, because it does it all and more. And so, yeah, I just put it towards that, and then, like, I got it quite literally the weekend before we were moving, which was a terrible time to buy it. It was like, well, my tax return hit, and, like, we already have our moving expenses covered, so fuck it, I'll just pay the rest right now instead of doing layaway, and was able to bring it home, and now I've actually had time to play with it and, like, do everything, and I recreated the new Spread Thin album tone on it using the stuff that I would have used during that session. I went back and found captures of the Archon that I really liked, and found a capture of an HM2 that I really liked, and made it back to how it was, and because I still have the picture of the settings that we used for that recording session in case anything got messed up. So I was able to just recreate it on there, and it sounds killer. And I love gear.
Yeah, dude. I even take it to a bit of an extreme, and, like, me and the Bridgekeeper boys will get in, like, heated debates over this. But I will make a hot take statement right now that even your pickups don't fucking matter. I really
I
do
don't.
believe that. I have a guitar with Fishman Moderns, my Ibanez 8. That's tuned all the way down to drop D sharp.
Okay.
And I have the Harley Benton 8 that's tuned in drop E, a half a step above, and with the stock fridge magnet pickups. And I've used both guitars on an album with the same tone with no post effects. It's literally just straight from the GE200 into the interface, and the only thing I adjusted on there was volume. And they sound identical.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it helps to have the better pickups. Like, it's easier,
yeah. There's
but it's really not necessary.
it's nothing.
It's really
that
not
you
necessary.
can't fix.
Exactly.
Like, do
Exactly.
you watch Glenn Fricker then?
I used to a lot. I haven't watched a lot of like music production stuff on YouTube in the past few years. I've just kind of been meandering my way through it.
I got really heavy back into his content and whatnot in the last few months. So like every time I'm putting laundry away, I just watch Glenn's videos and see what he's got going on. And he did a whole thing about how like the most important thing for your tone past an amp, for everything is the speaker. Like
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing, and that makes so much sense. I mean,
Mhm.
he also put the actual proof in front of everybody, and people are still like, "Oh no, you gotta have the pickups, and you gotta fucking do this." And
I mean,
this.
Glenn has always got such an unnecessary amount of hate online.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean,
Gets it
he is
because he's
speaking.
right. Like he gets the hate because he's fucking right and he knows what he's talking about. and but yeah, because he was like, pickups really don't make that much of a difference. I mean, obviously, like there's a reason, there's signature pickups, and like I'm saying pickups don't matter, and I swapped the pickups in that Strat for the G1s, and I did it because I had extra money from stuff that I had traded in to get that guitar, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it for shits and gigs and see how different it is. And I mean, it's different.
I mean, I can say for sure that there's going to be people who listen to this and are going to be like, "He's fucking stupid." I'm not saying like aftermarket pickups are a bad idea in any way, shape, or
Oh,
they
yeah.
are almost always better, but it's really like all you just need to build your tone. Like if you just EQ a little bit on your tone, it doesn't really matter the pickups that you have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. They're not the most important thing when you're trying to have a good tone.
Mm-hmm.
Like
For sure.
something that's even more important than that, fresh strings. Change your fucking strings, don't be gross.
Yeah, I need to do that on pretty much all of my guitars.
Dude, yeah, I just changed all of mine a couple of weeks ago because we had rehearsal stuff. So I was like, all right, I should probably
Dude,
change these.
You want to see something crazy?
Yeah.
So I have this kind of rare guitar.
Ooh.
This is an Ibanez SZR 720, I think. They only made it for like 2 years or something. It's really thick.
I thought it was a Schecter, actually.
Yeah, that's what most people think, but it is a super old Ibanez. And it's like a 24.75 inch scale, so it's like really short.
Yeah.
But this has Seymour Duncan blackouts in it. I mean, nice. I didn't put them in. Came with that. But I have this guitar in drop C sharp, and because it has such a short scale, I have some pretty ridiculous strings on there to get down to C sharp, and it might even be overkill, but I have Mammoth Slinkies on there.
Oh, dude, yeah,
which
I used
are
those for a little bit.
12 to 62.
Dude, I used to use that exact set for the longest time, because I had a Jim Root Squire Telly, and I used that set on there actually, because that was back when Misadventures played in drop C, before we decided to be a bunch of bozos and go all the way to drop G sharp.
Yeah,
because we made
that's what my seven's in.
Yeah, we made a very drastic change, which was, I mean, it was fine. It was cool, but I don't have that guitar anymore because of like what it was involved in. I was like, I don't want this anymore. So
Totally fair. I get that.
But that guitar was cool. But yeah, I used that exact set. And now the strings that I've actually been using, I don't know if I have any laying around, but I think they're the gauges. It's like 11 or 12 to 56. And
Okay. Yeah. So
that's been like
for C sharp.
Yep, for C sharp.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure it's 12 to 56, and it's the Martin Co. Or sorry, not Martin Co. Darko strings. It's like there's
Yeah.
a crow on it, and the specific pack, since they're more like color based, is like a dark green, similar to like my
Mhm.
background thing here. And
Yeah. Yeah,
I've
that's
just been
fucking
playing
cool.
those ever since I was introduced to them, and I like those strings a lot. They definitely, you get a little more life out of them, I feel like, than I was with some of the Ernie Ball ones. But also, I
Hmm.
have just super corrosive, disgusting sweat because I'm a gross man.
Dude, so do I. I drink a lot of coffee, and my hands just sweat a lot in general.
Dude, yeah,
So
I'm just,
I have the same issue.
every time we play it, like, dude, I wish my Explorer was up here so you could see how disgusting the bridge is because it's so
Yeah,
vile.
I have a few guitars like that as well. My Ibanez 8 that's tuned down to D sharp, I actually need to go thicker on the gauges just because it's still a little too floppy, but
Yeah,
it works. I use that guitar on the most recent song I dropped with Nick.
okay.
Um, and I'm thinking of actually just buying a 9 string pack and just skipping the high string.
I,
So that low string is going to be a 105.
Jesus Christ, that's insane. Dude, I think the thickest I'd ever gone was it was when we were on sevens for Misadventures. It was I don't remember the exact like range of the gauges, but it was like the thickest was like a 74 or something. I think it was 74, maybe it was 76. It was something like that. It was one of those ones.
74 is like your standard Ernie Ball 8 string pack, if I'm right. Like that gray one. I
Yeah,
think that goes down to
I think
74.
that's what I was using, and dude, I don't think I could go back. Like C sharp, that's the lowest I ever want to play in again. I, I was
Fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
was at Clay's house. This was pretty recent. This was like a month or two ago. I was over there and dicking around with like some of his guitars, and he had his. Uh, he actually, funny story, he has an Ibanez 7 string fan fret that used to be mine that I sold to a local shop, and then right after I sold it, Clay goes in there, sees this Ibanez 7 string fan fret, and then buys it. And then he realizes that it was the one I had, and he was like, "I think I just bought your guitar." And it's like over, and I'm like, "Yep, that was mine." And because like he had gotten it a long time ago, because this was a while ago, but I hadn't like seen it again in person until a little bit ago when I was over there, and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna play it for old time's sake." And I was like, "I haven't played extended range in so long. I felt so weird. I was like, what is this? I'm not used to this."
I definitely feel most comfortable on a 7. Like I float pretty commonly between 6, 7, and 8, and I would even get a 9. Like I think I could find a use for a 9 myself, but I haven't gotten that far yet. But yeah, 7 is my main. That my 7 in drop G sharp is literally perfectly in the middle of all my tunings that I use. So that's the one I tend to gravitate towards. If I'm not feeling like a vibe with that guitar, I'll just grab a different one and try
Totally
it in
get
a
it.
different tuning.
Dude, yeah, I've definitely like explored tunings and stuff quite a bit. Especially when I had the 7 string and back to 6 string and stuff, and
Mhm.
there's just something about how C sharp sounds, and it's so fun to play and write in, and you can still be very speedy with the riffs,
Mhm.
even in
Yeah, I
like that.
completely get that. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, my favorite all time band is Disturbed.
Dude, yeah, that's
Um,
right. Yeah.
Dan Donegan is probably the biggest influence on me in terms of guitar playing. Just
Hell
like
yeah.
the dissonant chords he uses, the harmonics, the evil sounding riffs. That is where all of that comes from for me. So I've also started playing the C sharp with that semi rare Ibanez, and I fucking love it. I was playing Disturbed songs just before this podcast.
Hell yeah. Yeah, dude, it's just so fun. It's such a fun tuning, and those songs are also just straight sick to play. So hell yeah. So
Mhm. Yeah, Disturbed for me is Metallica to Nick. That's the way I always compare it.
that's fair. That makes sense. So hit me with your top 5 bands right now.
Top 5 bands right now.
Doesn't have to be in order,
What
by the way.
is one?
Hell yeah.
Okay, well I'm gonna go from 1 to 5 to the best of my ability. Order may swap every once in a while, but Disturbed, Currents, Veil of Maya, Devil Wears Prada, and I'm gonna say Ocean's 8 Alaska, even though there's been a lot of controversy.
Yeah, there definitely has been, but that band's sick.
Mhm.
That was like one of my favorite like metal core style bands like that. Back when their first album came out on Rise.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah,
Dude, that
them.
was
I could swap them out for bands like Monster Flames. Like that's another really big one for me. Angel Makers. I can name way more than Angel Makers.
Angel Maker.
Insane too.
Uh, when I first heard them was when Dissentient came out.
Really?
Yeah, it was. If I remember, that's the blue cover, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Their album covers always look so sick.
It was that one. I remember. I think I saw like. I think how I found it. I was just like on YouTube, just like going through like, oh, you might like this, you might like this, and I stumbled upon that album, and I was like, this shit's insane. And now they've like blown up a lot more since then, and done even like crazier.
I actually found them before that album. I found them when the Decay EP kind of came. I was in high school just cruising through YouTube on a computer, and I found their drum playthrough for Blood, and I was hooked ever since then.
Dude, yeah.
I actually went and saw them recently in like January. Yeah, they were on tour with Left to Suffer and Veil of Maya, and I went to Madison to go see them. Funny story about Veil of Maya as well. So when I was living in Eau Claire, Elaine and I moved into this apartment, and I think this is safe to say because this was way in the past, and none of us are in the same spot anymore. But
yeah,
we moved in, and I was wearing a Veil of Maya shirt, and we were touring the apartment, and I mentioned that I do music, and the lady was like, "Oh yeah, the guy upstairs does music too. He's in a metal band," and I'm like, "Oh, what band is he in?" I might know it, thinking like a local band, and she like nervously said Veil of Maya.
What?
And I was like, "What do you mean?" And it turns out it was Lucas.
No way.
Yeah, so that was also the house I was in during lockdown. So both him and I couldn't go do anything. So him and I actually kind of started to become rather close and hang out a lot. And he helped me write songs that are on my Annihilation EP. So a lot of the songs that are on that EP, it was just him and me in my studio room, just shooting the shit and making riffs.
Dude, that's nuts. Small world.
That's a bit of a flex, but I'm very happy about that.
Dude, that's a flex worth bragging about. That's a good one.
Yeah, Lucas is a cool guy to me. He always has been. We still talk every once in a while, but now he lives somewhere else and I live in Milwaukee. But we went to that show and caught up there too, which was awesome. I haven't seen him in a few years, but he gave me one of his old acoustics that is broken. So I just have it for sentimental value, but it's sitting up behind my computer.
That's so sick, dude. Fuck yeah. Well, we mentioned video games before getting on here.
We did.
So,
we did.
What are you playing right now?
So right now I'm in a bit of a slump. I haven't played in a bit, but I am a big first-person shooter guy. I'm just a big gamer in general. Literally right here. My PC is down there. I've got a Quest for VR. Here, there's a Mortal Kombat arcade machine. All sorts of shit. But the game that's been really getting me over the last couple of years is Escape from Tarkov.
Dude, that's something I do actually want to give a fair shot. I've never gotten to play it, but I hear it's
very fun. It's also extremely frustrating, and it's probably the most difficult game I've ever played in my entire life.
I'm feeling
I will happily
frustrating game right now.
I will happily walk you through how to play. It is so insane.
I've been Fortnite. Fortnite's the go-to. I was playing Aiden recently. Nick is unbelievably good at that game. So Nick, you're a fucking pro. But
Nick, carry me in Fortnite.
dude, Nick, oh my god, we were playing. By the way, I forgot I messaged him. He said no, he didn't. Please tell me he gave himself credit. I'm saying you gave no credit to yourself.
I didn't even write the song. That's not true.
He doesn't even know what these songs are called. This was all you, Nick. Nick dressed up like you to be in that video, and that was it. But anyway, Nick is insanely good at Fortnite, and so that's like the main thing, especially like with having a kiddo and stuff. It's when I have a little bit of time to play during the week, because of work and the kiddo and everything, and like trying to have enough sleep to function. It's easy to pop on and like play a game or two and then be like, okay, I gotta be done.
Yeah.
Like, I need to go to bed, or I gotta go do something for him and whatnot. But when I have time to really play, I started playing Bloodborne with Dakota and a buddy.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah.
So I'm now getting heavily into the Souls series, which is unfortunate. Because I don't have a lot of time to like actually do that. But so no, I started playing Bloodborne, so I feel the frustrating part of a game because God.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah, Tarkov will be right up your alley then. Like, you go into a map, like, there is zero handholding. They don't show you where the exits are. They don't show you anything. There's no in-game map of any sort. You just kind of have to figure it out, and the best strategy for that is to have a version of the map someone put online on your phone next to you, and you can just, like, read topography and learn where to go.
Dude, I should play it then, because I hate how much I'm sorry, I keep looking at my phone, but it's because of Nick.
You're good. You're good.
I'm not saying anything else. He'll hear all of this silly on Monday.
For the record, the way those songs came about with Nick is I had those instrumentals done. They were out on my album called Suffer in Silence, and then I reached out to Nick and Danny with my song Rot, sent them the song. They wrote and produced vocals on it, sent it back to me, and then I just released it. That is exactly how that happened.
There's all the credit that had to go. So we're square now, Nicholas. But dude, yeah, no, so besides Tarkov, what else do you normally play?
I mean, in the first-person shooter genre, I like a lot of the more realistic stuff, a lot of the more like immersive things. So like COD to an extent, Battlefield to an extent.
I was gonna say Battlefield.
Yeah, if it's PC shooters, I really get into like the Milsim stuff or the tactical shooters. So like Ready or Not, which is like a SWAT simulator.
Yeah, dude,
that one's fun too. But my favorite game series of all time is Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Just for like a story perspective, I have a Shao Kahn, a Scorpion Sub-Zero figure here on my desk. I have the Scorpion energy drink that I refuse to open. Arcade machines, so on and so forth. I know every piece of the lore for every single character, which is like 100.
Dude, that's incredible.
By heart, and could explain it in order. Like, I fucking love that series.
Dude, I think when it comes down to story and stuff, my favorite video game series is the Borderlands series.
That's one I've yet to try.
Dude, oh my gosh. I've put an unreasonable amount of hours into that game. Into that game series, excuse me. And especially Borderlands 2. I have played that the most out of, I think, any game ever. Like, I've owned it for every single system you can possibly have it on. And have beaten it on everything you can have it on. Like, more than once with every character. That game is also just, like, special to me because of, like, the guy I used to play with all the time was a very, very close friend back in middle school and high school. And then, unfortunately, like, we had a falling out in high school, and he passed shortly after. But him and I, dude, he used to come over. He would come over to my parents' place, and he would bring his TV and his PS3, and we would set up, because, like, at my parents' place, I lived in, like, their upstairs. That was my bedroom, and their upstairs was, like, an apartment, essentially. So in the main part up there, which was, like, the living room, we, there would be, like, one wall, like, right here, and he would have me
Yeah.
set up there, and then he would take my my desk chair, and then I would be set up like right here, sitting in a recliner,
Yes.
and we would just play Borderlands 2 for hours and hours and hours on end. We would literally do nothing but play Borderlands 2, and we would beat the game so many times with all the different characters. Like we would take turns being different ones, and then we
Mhm.
would do all the side quests and stuff. But then eventually we just started like loot farming, and
Yeah.
I remember when Borderlands the pre-sequel came out, which is arguably the worst game in the series.
That
Um,
was a recent one, like
yeah,
a more recent game.
that was. I want to say that was like 2016,
Okay.
probably that one
Yeah.
came out, because then three came out a few years later. And dude, we both we both pre-ordered the game. I went to pick it up with my mom, and then we both skipped school that day just so we could sit at my parents' house and play all fucking day. And, and dude, that game, it's fun, but it's like you could live without playing it when it
Yeah.
comes to that series. But man, yeah, dude, that series is like one of the best video game series besides Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, dude. I remember doing stuff like that with my friends, like in school, like when the new COD would come out.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I remember, I think it was like Modern Warfare 3, the original Modern Warfare 3.
good one.
Like none of us were at school. None of
Yeah,
us were at school.
dude, we did that too. We would or like when Black Ops 2 came out. Oh
Yeah.
man, I went. That was the one and only time I went to a midnight release event for a video game, and
Hmm.
I went with my dad, and we. I remember they had a spot set up outside of GameStop in our mall where you could try zombies and you could try the multiplayer with bots. And
Oh yeah.
dude, insane time. And then it came out, and we were like, all right, time to go home. I had like the hardened edition, so I got like the cool box and case and everything. And we go home and we're like, okay, we could play. We could play like two real matches online. And then he's like, you got to go to bed. Like
Mhm.
you got school tomorrow and whatnot. And at the same time, we were about to have our first meeting with the town hall in the town I used to live in, to get a skate
Mhm.
park, because me and a couple
Oh
of my
yeah.
friends were like really pushing to get a skate park for our town because we all used to skate and stuff. And it was a very important meeting, but instead I managed to convince my mom and dad to let me stay home the entire day. And I shit you not, I played Black Ops 2 from the moment I woke up, after only sleeping for a couple hours, all the way up until I absolutely had to stop to leave to go to this meeting. And then I came home and played a little bit more and finally went to bed and then went to school again the next day. But oh my God, I played for way too long. And I did the
Dude.
ultimate gamer move. I played Black Ops 2 all day and only drank Mountain Dew and ate Doritos like a piece of shit.
Oh hell yeah. Hell yeah. You brought up skateboarding. I used to be what's technically considered semi-pro. I was sponsored by a small debt company out of Nebraska, I think it was.
Okay.
And when I would do competitions for them, they would have me in the semi-pro bracket. I don't know what that fuck that means. I feel like that's just like a weird in between sponsored and pro. But yeah, I used to skate a lot.
Hell yeah.
I would go to the Onalaska skate park. It's like, being in Whitehall, Eau Claire, and like Onalaska lacrosse area are
Yeah.
pretty equidistant. So, I assume you've been to the Onalaska
Yeah.
park.
Yeah, I'd been there plenty of times.
So, you know that giant stair set?
Yep.
I ollied that, which is really hard. I mean, it's just an ollie, but there's like very little run up,
Yeah, there's not a lot of
and like
space.
big shit like that was what I did. Like that is the shit that I enjoyed. But because of that, my knee is mega fucked now.
Oh,
Like it's
tell me
real
about
bad.
fucked knees. Whoa, baby. So I would I was scootering most of the time, because I like doing that, and that was super fun, and like I was more comfortable
Mhm.
with that. I did BMX for a little bit, and then I got into longboarding, which I'll still longboard here and there. But I don't think I've told this story on here, so this is an interesting one that I feel like you will get a kick out of. About the
Okay,
time I
ready.
almost broke my back longboarding. So this, I don't even know how long ago this was now. I was a freshman in high school, and I think it was like the summer going into freshman year. I stayed at a buddy's house, and he lived like it's kind of weird to explain without like having been to that town, but basically he kind of lives like out in the country behind our high school, because there's a bunch of farmland back there and whatnot, and he lived back there. And I stayed overnight at his place. We were like painting stuff and whatnot, and then we were gonna skate all the way back to my place, back into town, because I lived like on the exact opposite side of the school from where he would have lived, so it was a pretty decent distance. So we were gonna skate all the way back there and hang out at my place for the day. So we're leaving his place, and thank God, the only thing that saved me was my backpack full of clothes and the paint hanging in a Walmart bag off the side of it. So this is very important to the story. And also wear a helmet. Don't be an idiot. So I was wearing a helmet, and we get to like the top of this hill, and it doesn't look like it's anything crazy. Like it really, when you're at the top of it, it doesn't look like much. And he's like, yeah, man, like you can get like way down there, like quarter mile away to the stop sign at the end of the road. And I was like, you're fucking bullshitting me. Like, there's no way, dude. This hill ain't shit. And
Yeah.
he's like, just be careful, man. He's like, it definitely, like, you'll get going. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so he goes, and I'm like, God, this doesn't seem like anything. It's fine. Like, it doesn't look like he's hardly moving. So I go, and going down, and everything's fine. And all of a sudden, get a little bit of wobbles, you know? And I'm like, oh, okay,
Ooh, the speed wobbles.
and then it goes from like this kind of speed wobble to like this kind of speed wobble, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die. And sure enough, I end up hitting the grass on the left side, and it sends me just flying. Like, I tumbled probably a good 15, 20 feet through this yard. And those like metal electrical posts that are out and about,
Yeah.
it went
Yeah.
from being perfectly straight up to a 90-degree bend
Oh no.
because I tumbled so hard into it. And the only reason I didn't fuck up my back worse than I did and actually break it was because of the backpack on that had clothes in it. I knocked myself out for probably like 30 seconds at the most.
Oh, dude.
And here's the craziest part of the whole story. When I come to, I am surrounded by like 14 Amish kids. And so it turns out I crashed in an Amish family's yard. And the
I bet that felt like a piece of your.
dude, they're probably like, what the fuck is going on? And they're just surrounding me, and then like their parents like end up coming out and stuff, and they're like, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, where's my phone? And I'm like, you guys can't touch that, but where is it? And like, so
You can't touch it.
yeah, like you're not. I think that's against the rules or something. But if you could give it to me and just break the rule real quick, I would love that. And so I bend that middle electrical post real bad in their front yard, and I'm surrounded by all these kids. There's paint splattered across their yard because of the paint that was in the bag, and my board ends up going like another 15 to 20 feet down into their garden. And so my buddy is like, where did Alex go? Like, what the heck? So he's coming back up to find me, and then he just sees this little Amish girl running up from the garden with my board, and he's like, oh no. And he just finds me surrounded by these children. Just like, what the hell is going on? And so we have to call my dad at work. It's like, I think it's like a Saturday. So he's like, oh my God, what's going on? And we tell him what's up, and he just starts laughing his ass off at me. And I'm like, can you just come get me, please? So he gets me, and he gets me, and they're like, yeah, you're going to be sore for a while, but you didn't break anything, thankfully. Like, you were lucky you had that backpack on. But I can never forget that happened. That was like the gnarliest thing. That was definitely the craziest injury I had from skating in general. But, whew, man.
Is that the craziest injury you've had in general?
Yeah, probably. Like, I'm trying to think. The only other, like, gnarly one that I had from skating was also something really fucking stupid. Like, I'm talking just the dumbest thing that could have possibly happened. Okay, I gave myself a concussion on the way to school one morning when I was riding I was riding my scooter. And the reason it's even more dumb is because I was on the sidewalk right in front of the school and I just hit like the littlest fucking pebble with the front of my scooter wheel and it just whew, like as fast as I possibly could have gone, just smack face first
Oh,
into the
dude.
ground. And I just ended up with a really bad concussion. So my mom has to drive 3 blocks from the house up to the high school to pick me up and brings me home and is just like, all right, well, don't go to sleep because, like, you're not supposed to for a while after you have a
Yeah.
concussion. And so I didn't, and I just was, like, chilling the rest of the day. And then my buddies, like, that I skate with to school in the morning, they, like, came over to check on me. And we were like, dude, you know what'd be crazy? If we made a skating YouTube channel, we should like go film a video right now. So we go
Just complete disregard for what you're supposed to be doing.
yeah. I was like, oh, dude, this is a great idea. We should do that right now. So we go to his parents' basement and just make a really shitty skating like scooter video on the like very narrow side of the basement that doesn't have carpet. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all those videos are removed. So if anyone finds them, fuck you. No, you didn't. But
I think my sponsored, or like my videos for the sponsor I was on, which I just made myself, they're very poorly made. But they're still on my YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure. In fact, the video of me ollieing that stair set in Alaska is still on my YouTube channel.
well, I know what I'm doing after this.
You have to go way far. There's going to be some funny, weird shit there. There's a video of like me playing F5 and my friend Giovanni, who let me point this out first off because it's going to become apparent during the story. I am not straight edge, and my friends are way less farther away from straight edge than me.
Okay.
So I was playing a game and we were all on there, and Giovanni was drinking, and he vomits, but he vomits in such a way where it sounds like Marge Simpson screaming while gargling water. It is the funniest shit ever. It's so fucking funny. So you'll find that there too.
Dude, I'm gonna find it, and that's gonna go in the description of your episode.
The video's called Poor Jeff because we call him Jeff.
Okay, I'm finding that after this because that sounds hilarious.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Please, because that sounds incredible. I want that now.
My worst injury has nothing to do with skateboarding whatsoever, and it's a funny story.
Okay.
I almost died. Like, I came this fucking close to dying.
God.
But,
I have to know.
My family is filled with some unsavory people every once in a while.
Okay.
And, my uncle installed this ceiling fan in my bedroom that's been up for years, right? I'm sitting there playing Battlefield 4, and I'm, like, kind of leaned back in a chair, and I do that pro gamer move where you, like, get real serious about it, and you do the lean forward with your arms on your legs. And Nick just messaged me, by the way. He just says Chase. What is this about Alex telling me you didn't take credit? Anyway, so I lean forward, and this ceiling fan falls.
Oh, no.
And I'm right below it.
No.
And we were dumb, rebellious kids, so like we were shooting BB guns in our room and we shouldn't have. So like one of those like glass bells that are a light bulb was already broken, and it was in the shape of a shank.
Oh my god!
So it goes straight into my back, like perfectly between my shoulder blades.
What the? Fuck?
And I had to get so many stitches, and I bled so much they had to cut my clothes off me at the hospital. And they were just like, you can pass out, you can fall asleep, it's okay. And I'm just like, no. And so I'm awake for the entire thing.
Oh my god.
And yeah, dude, at a certain point, I started to not be able to hear or see anymore. Like, it was just light and ringing.
That's Battlefield 4D. You got fucking...
It's true, dude. I just got hit from behind, man.
Dude, you got fucking shot in the back. Some man shot the building down on you. And
Yeah, dude.
got
The destruction in Battlefield 4, it really got me.
dude, it
Damn, it's an
really got
immersive
you.
game.
That game was so immersive. It was so innovative. Oh my god, dude, that's so
Um,
crazy.
we talked about shows earlier too. I want to just preface this. I have been trying to figure out a way to play shows with my solos, and I was getting super close to doing it right when the venue and the crash shut down.
Oh,
And that was the first place I was going to do it. Um, and now I'm kind of in a state where I don't know if it's still doable. The thing is like I don't know anybody, um, and I don't know how. Even if I were to reach out to some of the people I know in your area, how that could even work, like practicing wise. So the only way I think I could do it is if it's like similar to like what Dakota did with like the contour line, where it's just him up there by himself with the backing tracks.
yep.
And I just don't know if that is interesting enough for a show.
I mean, I think it would be, because I was gonna tell you, like, I might have a solution for you to be able to play a show.
Yeah.
I just don't know when for sure. We're trying to work on some stuff. I'll tell you quick once we're done.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to have to edit it out for a second time because I'm lazy. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, no, I think that would be sick to see. I mean, I always loved watching Cody do contour line, and like I just like watching people play guitar. So I would be enjoying it, and I feel like plenty of other people would also. Like, there's plenty of fucking guitar nerds out here that would
That's
just
true.
want to like
That's
watch you
true.
do your thing, and
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it would be sick. So I think it would be cool.
All right, well, I might consider that then. I would just literally have to just take like all of my songs, every single song I've ever made is still on my computer, like the full final stems of it. So I would just have to cut out the parts that I've and that's it, and then just like export
I think
it.
it'd be sick. I would watch that and have fun. So
Awesome. Well, then I might consider doing it again soon.
and it also gives me even more of an opportunity to like relax during a show. So
Oh, true.
I can.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, well, I do not want to ever rush anything, but I have to be to work by 5:30 in the morning.
Hey, no, you're all good. You're all good. Do what you gotta do.
Before we finish this and tell everyone good night, because I'm sure Aiden Dearman is listening to this as he falls asleep. So good night, everybody. Basically, yeah, just if there's anything you want to let people know where they can find you and whatnot, I'll of course put links in the description. But if there's any last words you want people to hear about what you got going on, if you got anything coming up, share it now.
I am currently in a writing mode, so I am working on new music right now. There are people who are going to be featured on it. Nick is obviously one of them. Other people that have previously been on this podcast.
Okay.
That's the big hint that I'll give. You already know, but other people don't.
So, out of the 16 guests we've had, figure it out, people.
Other than that, it's Chase Samples music on every platform. My music's out on all streaming platforms, literally anywhere. You can use it as a TikTok audio. Bridgekeeper is also out on all platforms. Stream myself practicing and playing my songs on TikTok every. So if that's something you guys care to see, go and follow me on TikTok.
You're all legally obligated to do that now because he just said it, and I'm going to put it in the description. So if you don't do it,
put the follows in the bag.
But hell yeah, man, dude, it's been awesome having you and actually getting to chat. Hopefully the next time we do this, Clay will be not dead in Kansas anymore, and will join us because I miss my co-host. It's been a little weird to like do it without the guy behind the whole thing, because the podcast would not exist if it weren't for Clay. So shout out Clay. I love you, buddy. I miss you.
Shout out Clay.
And thanks everyone for hanging out with us. And I guess these are the things we've seen, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for having me, man.
Dude, of course.